Welcome to Massive Beers. Um, yeah, mostly beer reviews here. That's what we do. One of our favorite beer reviews to do is aged beer. That's what we're doing tonight. The form of this sucker. Yeah, this is Lickinghole Creek's Heir Apparent. I have no idea how old this is. I actually reached out to Lickinghole Creek. I sent them a picture of this going, can I find out how old this is? It's been a week and a half, and crickets. That sucks. So my wife, on her side of the family, she has several family members, and she has two cousins that have several kids, and several kids each, and they do birthday parties kind of in bulk, which is kind of considered if you think about it when you have a bunch of kids. Anyway, one had a birthday party, and they have four kids, and we went there, and they had a pool and stuff like that, and we're like, oh, okay, we'll go there with Micah and have a good time and all that kind of fun stuff. And I had Tony, the husband, Tony and Tanya. I went there, and he's like, hey, man, I know you like beer. He's like, I wouldn't appreciate this. How about you have this? And this is what he gave me. He gave me a Lickinghole Creek beer that I'm assuming is at least several years old, because I know they produce this beer still. I'm pretty sure it's been in cans since like 99, 2000. So I have no idea how old it is. Now, what kind of beer is it? Will it hold up with time? It is a Mexican-inspired Imperial Stout. So Mexican chocolate stouts, pretty much. It is, what is it? 11.5%. And what they say in the bottle is, it's Lickinghole Creek is a farm brewery. That's about the brewery. I'm not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the beer. Heir Apparent, Mexican Spiced Imperial Stout. They put super tiny, thin, cursive lettering on white background. So if I screw up, it is what it is. Heir Apparent is an Imperial Stout with a complex caramel, soul tempered by chocolate and roasty undertones, sweeter style than Russian Imperial Stouts at only 60 IBUs, but balanced by the heart of fresh Mexican peppers, vanilla, and cacao nibs. The Heir Apparent is apparently ambitiously biding its time until it comes to power. His time will come. So yeah, butchered that, but that's on them. That's not on me. So let's actually just crack into it. See what's what. So you're talking about a Mexican stout. So you're talking about cacao nibs, chili, Russian Imperial Stout, but with, a little bit of vanilla lactosey vibes, could be. We'll see what's what. Give it a rough pour. See how this sucker is aged. A lot of those flavors could be tempered. It's got some time on it, man. I mean, it's going to be really, really hard to see this. Let's see if I can bring this little light down here, if I can bring it behind the actual bottle itself. Give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about. See, that works perfectly, doesn't it? If I can just get it right. See that ring? When I talk about Merc rings, it's that ring right there. Once I rotate this towards the camera, you can see a little better. My camera's going to automatically put that down. But that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the Merc ring that I talk about, and people are like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. It's like this aged where the beer is settled over time. So this thing has some time on it, so that's pretty fun. You perfectly honest with you. As far as label goes, I love cardinals on labels. Listen, Vermilion from Perennial. There you go. I remembered. This is one of my favorite barley wines of all time. More specifically, one of my favorite aged barley wines of all time. So anytime I see a little cardinal on there, I get really hot and bothered. So we'll see what's what. Beer-wise, looks like a stout. Got nice carbonation going on, so it's not like completely dead out of the water. Give it a little swirl. You can see that come back. There's this rich darkness to it. It's not the thickest, darkest stout in the history of mankind, but it looks pretty. I'm really curious about this nose. Let's dive in. That smells fantastic. It really does. It comes off very much like a nice chocolatey milk stout. There is not a big kind of peppery component to this. I'm sure that could die off, but more often than not, even if that pepperiness does kind of die off in beers like this. I usually get a little green vegetal thing. I'm not really getting that. I'm getting more like chocolate milk stout off of this, and it comes off really, really nice. Just a little spicy vibes, a little like dash of cinnamon here, a little bit of like something else. Man, it's rich. It's very, very rich. Does not come off as an aged beer whatsoever. Like I said, I'm venturing to guess this is anywhere between 2 to 6 years old. Does not smell 2 years old, let alone any older than that. It just comes off as really decadent, really desserty, and more of a chocolate stout than a like a Mexican inspired kind of like stout. Let's dive in. Cheers, all. That's fun. That's a fun beer. Definitely get the peppers in the taste. And get this sharp hit of like a peppery spiciness. I would say more than heat here. It has this kind of. It wants to be hot, but it's kind of lost its like a little bit of chutzpah. But it's still there. The roasty toastiness of that Russian Imperial Stout is still the core of the beer, and it's definitely there. That peppery heat kind of lingers. Each step you take gets a little bit more and more. That lactose component, this milk stout, kind of chocolate, lactose, vanilla kind of combination that you get on these beers more often than not, is there. The biggest detractor here. The biggest detractor is mouthfeel. It just comes off thin. You know, with the amount of like head on this and how lively that cap came off, I thought it was going to be pretty good. So I'm thinking this beer came off a little bit thinner as it was originally. It's a tasty beer, though. It's almost like you want to take a step back and just talk about the beer as what it is in a very basic component. It's to a T perfect. It is a Russian Imperial Stout. It is peppery spicy. It has that nice kind of combination of those chilies and that nice kind of chocolatey, white chocolate kind of lactose kind of combination going for it. The only thing here, missing here, the big component is this kind of fuller, denser mouthfeel. It comes off very, very thin for its ABV level. It comes off more like a 7% kind of milk stout as opposed to like an 11, 12% kind of milk stout. So that's a bummer. But when you're talking about an aged beer, it's not that big of a detractor. It doesn't have much as far as oxidation goes. My wife's texting me. My Mike is feeling a little. He's got a small fever. Nothing crazy. Like sub 101, but I just want to make sure I'm keeping tabs on that. Anyway, it's a really fun beer. I dig it. Thank you very much, Tony, for giving this to me. You know, getting old beer like this is kind of one of my favorite things in the world to happen to me, especially randomly. You know, going to you know, a family party like that. And not that I haven't brought good beer there before. You know, I've been to the household before. I've been like, I've brought beer. Here's fancy beer. So it's not like that's an unknown thing, but for someone to reciprocate, not just in kind, but also in uniqueness, is just a fun thing to kind of walk into. Don't expect it, always appreciate it. But yeah, chocolate abounds in this. Mouthfeel, well, still fun. I kind of want to walk back the thin thing, because if this is 7%, it's fine. 11%, it's thin. But the way the chocolate kind of plays with the kind of caramelly, as they talked about on the label, kind of milk stouty kind of portion of the show. The peppers play really, really fun, even though they're a little bit aged. The roasty toastedness of that Russian Imperial Stout is quite nice. I think it's a really fun beer. Definitely a fun aged beer. And an absolutely fun free aged beer. That kind of makes it a little bit more tolerable. If I paid $28 for this off the shelf, I have no idea what it costs. Non-barrel aged beer, I wouldn't pay that. But you know, as a thank you freebie beer, definitely a fun journey. And yeah, Maybe Lickinghole Creek will eventually get back to me, but who knows. So yeah, have you had this beer? Have you had this beer recently? Have you had this beer recently in bottles? You know, the can portion of the show, they flipped the cans, like I said, not too long ago, a couple years ago. I'm curious if any of y'all out there have had bottle variants of this and have had you cracked them recently. If you have, let me know down there. Let me know about the brewery. Have you been there? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on their beers? It used to be kind of like a kind of like big get hype beer brewery, but now it seems like they've kind of settled into their own kind of personal space. Really curious. See what your thoughts are on the brewery. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the little bit of aged beer review. Hopefully you're enjoying something from your cellar right now. I'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.